What is going on, everybody? If you are rewatching this, welcome. If you are watching this live, welcome. I have so much that I want to talk to you guys today about. And I know a lot of people not necessarily going to see this on the live stream, but I enjoy live streaming instead of having your normal content. So here we go. We're going to talk about private money today. And a lot of you guys, the reason why I do this right now, because I've only been doing this for 2 weeks for the live streaming, is that a lot of people get stopped in their tracks because they don't have the money. And I will say that money should not stop you from doing this business of real estate investing, because when I first got started, I had zero money. So I believe that yes, you need money, but it doesn't have to be your money. And to raise it is to understand how money works. So a little bit of story that's happened in the last 24 hours for me. I've been talking to my CPA because if you guys don't know, it is still tax season for us business owners. May 15th is when the franchise tax is due. So for some reason, I have to remind my CPA of that. But we got everything filed, taken care of. I'm transferring my bookkeeping right now, so that's happening. And he was talking to me yesterday about basically how he wanted to get started in Airbnb and do that whole thing. And I told him, Bella. And I told him that, sorry, my cat is ridiculous. And I told him essentially about, because it's in a rural location and you don't necessarily know everything that's going to happen, my suggestion would be not to do it because you're going to pay $10,000 in furniture and whatnot. Now, do I believe in Airbnb? 100%. I have Airbnbs, but it definitely takes a different, making sure that you run the numbers properly, because Airbnb has become so saturated right now that I do believe that you do need to make sure that you understand your market. And if it's not the right market, then you need to know how to run your numbers and make sure that if it's a good fit or if it's not a good fit. So we're talking about Airbnbs and all this stuff. And then today he calls me again because he needed something from me. And he was talking about how he has friends, his buddies and him have raised essentially $1.5 million and they want to get into real estate, but they have zero, and I mean zero, idea of what they're doing. They want to do commercial real estate for some, like they just kind of picked it. I'm like, okay, what's your buying criteria? Because that's the first thing you typically ask somebody. 1 second. That's the first thing you typically ask somebody is what is your buying criteria? Like, let me go find a deal for you. But I can only find a deal for you if I know your buying criteria. He's like, I don't have one. And I'm like, okay, that's not good when you do commercial real estate, because commercial real estate is a whole different animal than actual residential real estate. So why am I telling this story is because just because you have money, that also doesn't mean that you understand how to invest it and to make money. Luckily, I've been doing this for 7 years and I've paid for my mistakes in the school of hard knocks. And if you guys don't know what that is, that means that I have paid for it in mistakes that I've made through property deals, whether or not I've lost or gained money. I have really understood how it works. Let me tell you, I have learned my lesson. And there's certain things that I won't do again. And there's certain things that I will do again. So I've been doing this for a long time. I've raised, I know I said 1 million. I was trying to be conservative, but it's definitely been over $2 million that I have raised in the last 7 years. I would say 5 out of the 7 years, because 2 years I took off and kind of did Airbnb. So I wouldn't say I'm back to raising money. I do like where I'm at right now. I have properties. I'm about ready to sell a property, which I haven't really said anything. I'm going to sell a property to be able to 1031 exchange that property into something else. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But a lot of people don't understand the game of private money. No, I wouldn't say it's a game. I would say real estate is a game. I would say understanding private money is definitely an art to it, of making sure that your investors get the return, their investment is secure. There is a difference between understanding regular private money, like somebody who's investing with you on a deal versus someone is investing into an actual LLC with you, which is considered an accredited versus a non-accredited investor. So there's a lot to kind of unpack here. So what I have here is a spreadsheet of kind of, I won't say a spreadsheet, but it's more of like a what is this type of thing. Like, who are these private money lenders? Where do I find private money? Who will lend to me type of thing. I would say 90% of all private money lenders come from a 401k and IRA. So if you are able to explain how a 401k or an IRA rolls into a self-directed IRA and be able to invest into real estate, you have really done a good job of, if you can explain that, you will unlock a lot of money for yourself. The unlocking a 401k or an IRA into rolling it into a self-directed custodian where they can now go invest it. There's so many different ways to unlock certain monies. The majority of a lot of people's money is in that 401k that they get from the employer. There's certain restrictions on it. So every employer has their restrictions. So they definitely need to make sure that they talk to wherever they have their money located. But we're going to get into all of that. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself right now. So I really want to get into what exactly private money lending is, why do you need it, all the good stuff. So let's go to my screen here. Notability. Where'd you go? Okay. So the first question is, why do I need private money? Now, there's a couple different reasons why. The first one is that using your own money, sometimes you get tied down, and you don't necessarily know how to get you use. So like, for instance, if you get a W-2 paycheck, say you make $10,000 a month, that you saved up enough where you feel like you can go out and do maybe a fix and flip, or let's say a rental, a BRRRR method, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. A BRRRR method, I go through that on my YouTube channel. You can definitely watch. But a lot of people think that the going through, they take their income and they save, and then maybe they go out and get hard money, for instance, and they go over 1 month and now they can't really afford it. I've seen a lot of people where they get into a situation where they have to pay the payments the contractor went over. I'm having that issue right now, to be honest with you, where the contractor goes over the project and now you're having to pay another payment and you can't really afford it because hard money is super expensive and it's interest only payments. And this all could have been avoided if you structured it correctly. And I think a lot of people don't really necessarily understand how to structure it. And we might not do this on this live stream on how to actually structure deals, because I think that might be going into a little bit too far of details of hard money for for this type of hard, for this, I want to just kind of get the basics here. It might take 30 minutes, it might take 45 minutes, but I want to give you guys really a basic outline of hard money. I'm sorry, of private money. My apologies. So let's see here. Where did I put my notes? I'm sorry. Okay, so why do we need a private money lender? Because it basically just takes off the burden of you having to go and using your own money to invest. Now, I've used it in two different ways. I've used private money and I've used my own money. And to be honest with you, when you can leverage other people's money, it's a lot easier. It's a lot less, I would say, stress, and it doesn't strap you so much. Now, the numbers have to work for private money. So when you go and you run your numbers as a private money lender, a lot of the time you're paying, interest to the private money. So you have to factor in that money. And sometimes a lot of people don't factor it in, or they don't factor enough payments in or whatnot. And that could be really not a good thing on the back end. But if you did it correctly, you should be able to use an exit strategy where you can get them out. Now, we're going to go through some exit strategies today. We might go through structuring deals, but that's here nor there. We'll see how much we get through of this. So why do you need a private money lender? And what is the difference between an actual investor versus a lender? An investor is an accredited person that has to qualify to be able to invest into one of your deals, and they invest with you in an LLC. A lender is typically a lien against the property, and you give them a straight return on their money. I haven't seen recently where people are charging points for private money, but typically it's a second position lien on the property, and when you go and sell the property, they get paid out, or you go and refinance the property, they get paid out. So there's a couple different ways to structure the deals. Where do you find these private money lenders? And what people don't realize is that private money lenders are not what they think. It's not the people that you see that drive the Lamborghinis or all these, they're a lot of the time they're just regular normal people that work a job, or who's been working a job for 15, 20 years, and they have 100,000, 150,000 saved up in their IRA. They have it saved up in their 401k, and they're like, hey, the returns that I'm getting now is not as good as a 10% or 12% that I can be getting in real estate. So that's the reason why I want to go with you and go and invest in one of your deals. And a lot of the time, some of them are short term, some of them are long term. We're going to go through that if we have time today, but I really just want to get a baseline of private money and why you need to kind of think about private money in a different picture, and think about it of growing your business versus thinking it as a bad thing that you get private money because you don't have the money. I see private money as an opportunity for you to grow your business versus the other way around. All right. So where do you find these private money lenders? So I was trying to think of when I never met this one private money lender that gave me $422,000. I cannot remember. I'm trying to rack my brain on where I met him. I didn't meet him. I do know that part because when they lent me money, I realized that I never met him prior to him lending me money. It's kind of a crazy story, to be honest with you. At the time of this whole thing, when it happened, of him lending me money, I was about 3 years into real estate. I had quite a bit of deals underneath my belt, and I can't remember. I'm literally was trying to think about this for 3 or 4 days of like exactly where I found this private money lender, and I cannot figure out. His name is Lloyd. So if Lloyd is out there, I was actually thinking about calling him the other day. So Lloyd knew somebody who had a trust. This trust has a lot of money in it. He says they can do about 5 to 6 deals, give or take, every single time. Lloyd, we were talking back and forth. He wanted to see the deals that I did, the deals that I was on title for that I did. So then they decided to loan me. They were acting as hard money. And if you guys know anything about hard money, and recently, I can't believe I didn't even know this, but hard money is not regulated. You don't need a license to lend for hard money. So it's so interesting because he lent me $422,000 in first position lien on a property. So what does that mean? He typically, if you do any type of mortgage, they go in the first position, right? So if I were to get a hard money loan from any other lender out there, they typically go in first position. Now, taxes are your number one, and then it's usually mortgage, and then it's usually a private money lender that goes in second. Okay, so that Lloyd lent me $422,000 for a project, and he charged me 1.5 points. And what does that mean? Points is percentage points. Okay, so if I borrowed $422,000, multiply that by 1.5%, and that will give me, let's do this really quickly. Somebody already messaged me. LOL. Yesterday I had to stop my live stream because I had a call that came in that I needed to take. So do apologize for that. So I had to put down $6,330. And that came out when we did escrow. So escrow, I had to come up with $6,330 up front to be able to use the money. So that came out in escrow. He became first position. He actually, because it was a rehab, we were able to pay the first payment 6 months from the day that we closed escrow. So 6 months. They also lent 100% of the rehab budget. So we got the rehab in draws. I basically took a picture or did a walkthrough, and they saw that the rehab was getting done, and they would send us draws. So he was extremely easy to work with. And to be honest with you, like, it's so crazy because I think about how crazy it sounds. Like, this guy doesn't know me. I sent him some credentials of myself, but he doesn't necessarily like know me. He didn't really do a background check. He never pulled my credit. He never did anything. He just had somebody he knew lend me $422,000. Now, granted, if everything went sideways, they know that they can foreclose on that first position, right? Luckily, nothing ever happened, so they never had to do anything, but they were able to take a lot of those payments. They took all the payments when we transferred it into a mortgage. They took all those payments that we didn't make payments on a monthly basis, so they took all that money out of escrow when we closed it on the back end. So that's a very unique situation, but to be honest with you guys, that happens a lot more than you think it does. So if you're like, hey, I don't have the money, I don't have the credit, I don't have anything, you need to find a partner that has it, or you find somebody who is experienced in the real estate game. You need to find one or the other. If you're brand new and you don't know what you're doing, my biggest thing is that you need to find somebody that either knows what they're doing, or you need to figure out what to do. Because in my first story that I told you guys, even though you have the money, they are trying to raise $5 million right now. My CPA and all his friends, they're trying to raise $5 million. They're at 1.5. Let me tell you guys that you can still lose money in real estate if you have no idea what you're doing. Okay? Let's be very clear. Just because you have the money, that does not mean that you know what you're doing. And I've seen it happen across the board where it's happening right now. And I got so much crap on my Instagram about this multifamily. And I didn't mean to say necessarily just multifamily. It was supposed to be commercial real estate is going to be taking a nosedive here shortly. And the reason why is because you had so many people that raised money that didn't necessarily know what they're doing, and they did it on a variable interest rate. And because they did it on a variable interest rate, you're now talking about people who got it at a 2%, and now because we're at like a 7, almost 8% interest rate, depending on where you're at, because it's so high, it sucked up all the cash flow. Now they can't go and sell it for what they thought they could sell it because of buying power. The person who's going to buy it cannot buy what they previously can qualify for. So now you're about to see commercial real estate that includes multifamily, 5 units or more, retail. You're talking about all commercial, industrial, everybody who bought in 2019, 2020, 2022, 2021, and they have a variable interest rate, meaning they usually typically pay interest only payments for the first 5 to 7 years, and then they start locking in their rate and they get a certain percentage of their rate of whatever that is, because the banks want their money up front. That's really how the banks work and operate, is that a lot of the time they want their interest up front. So what does that mean for you guys? If you want to do anything that has to do with real estate investing, anything that is basically real estate, single family, multifamily, anything, you guys need to get educated on how this works, because if you're not educated on how this works, you can lose money. And if you're using private money, you can lose somebody else's money. And to me, there's no excuse of I didn't know what to do. Okay. There's so much stuff out there. There's so much information out there that you need to know what to do. It's not enough to say that I didn't know I was supposed to do X, Y, and Z. All right. And if you don't know, you need to find somebody who does know the answer. I've been doing this for 7 years. I was talking to a 1031 exchange guy today because we're about to sell a property and we need to, I like to say funnel the money because my old CPA used to say funnel the money, but I have to essentially take that money and put it into another property. And I learned something new today in real estate, and I've been doing this for so long. And I'm telling you guys, if you know everything in this business, you are going to lose every single time. You need to be a sponge in this business because there's still stuff that I learned to this day. Luckily, I have a team around me that understands exactly what they're doing, and I can also go and talk to them essentially of like, hey, I need this contact to talk to this person, to get information from this person, X, Y, and Z. Today, I had another meeting with an attorney / title company that I'm going to be using. I have that meeting. I had a meeting with a 1031 exchange person today. I talked to my contractor pretty much all day today. We have property deals. I have a goal of hitting 5 wholesale deals this month. And I was a little bit leery on the last live stream that I did, but I have a goal, and you're going to watch it play out in the next month, that I have a goal of doing 5 wholesale deals. And it's going to happen because I'm going to make it happen. I already put money where my mouth is. I hired a cold caller. They're cold calling for me. I'll know the results in the next couple days here. And we're moving along. I have somebody who wants a commercial property. I have a lot of stuff going on. Trying to find another property for myself. But I do want something that is a really good deal. Typically, I like to fix them up to force appreciation on them. That's really where my go-to spot is. Next week, I'm thinking about doing something on potentially comping a property, how to comp a property, and then also how to talk to sellers, cold calling, all that good stuff, how to find your first deal. And the reason why I do private money is because it helps you grow quicker, but you need to know what to do in order for you to grow and do that whole thing. So I'm not going to go a whole hour today, but because there's so much and I'm not going to get through it all, and I know I can save this for another day to do it. But yeah, so this is kind of where we're at. So why do I need a private money lender is for you to make sure your cash is freed up for if something were to go sideways, you have money to be able to pay for the overages. And I will tell you, if you do any type of construction, there will be overages, okay? The second thing is that where to find these, where I found Lloyd, I cannot remember to save my life, but where I've met a lot of my private money lenders is through communities of real estate investors, going to RIA meetings. I was just looking up a bunch of meetings to go to in the month of May. I have it all scheduled out to go and meet people and network. And to be honest with you guys, I will say that I know I can get on these YouTube lives and be okay, but I am so awkward when you meet me in person. And the reason why is because I'm shy by nature. And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, right, you're not shy by nature. I'm really shy by nature. I just have big goals. And that's why I hop on these live streams and I do it because I know that there's somebody out there that's just getting started like I was 7 years ago and they're trying to figure it out. And I hope I can help you guys. So if you guys need help with any of your deals, you're more than welcome to reach out to me on my Instagram, which is Claire Ann Investor, same as my YouTube channel, Claire Ann Investor. You can follow me and you can always reach out. And if you have a question about real estate, I want to be that person that helps you. There's no charge to it. It's just me because I know what it's like to not be able to have somebody to go to ask for help. And I always wish I had that person. So you're definitely, if you guys need my help in any way, you can reach out to me on my Instagram, Claire Ann Investor. Please shoot me a DM. I'd be more than happy to hop on a call, whatever you guys need, let me know. So I only got through a short little segment of my presentation today. I'm not going to go a full hour because I feel like my voice is about to give out in about 2 seconds. And I've been on the phone all day today. On the phone, on calls today. I talk to probably 10 people every single day. And it's a lot running a business. It's nonstop. So hopefully this was helpful information. I didn't even get through a whole lot. We got through kind of what private money lending is, where to find these private money people. Where is the money? Money. Guys, the money is in an IRA, a 401k. And I actually, I was talking to someone today. I think he does 401ks. I want somebody to come on here to talk to you guys about how to roll over your 401k or IRA. And then I also have another lady that does life insurance and how to roll over your life insurance policy to invest into real estate. So there's so many good contacts that I have. I just want to give you guys all the resources, all the knowledge. So if you guys have any questions at any time, you can reach out to me on Claire Ann Investor. So I hope you guys have a good night and we will see you on the next one. Bye now.